Well, thank you, Charles, and let me welcome you to our Abuja Center this beautiful, beautiful morning. A little hazy in the federal capital this morning. I do not know what it looks like in your own area. Temperature cool to enable us have a cool conversation. My name is Mwabo Zenjoko, and this morning we are going to be looking at issues in the economic development of the Southeast region. The federal government has created all manner of zonal, not all manner of, pardon my language, a number of zonal development commissions. But at the same time, zones and group of states that are contiguous are finding it comfortable to come together to be able to fast track economic development in their zones. And so there is this Southeast Business and Investment Development Group, and it is driving opportunities in the Southeast. It is driving collectivization. It is driving data production. It is driving conversations amongst business and interest groups, professionals, and all that. A couple of weeks back, they held a critical summit in Enugu, the capital, of course, of former Eastern region. And in the studio this morning with me is Dr. Ifedi Okwena. Dr. Ifedi Okwena is the Director General of the Southeast Business and Investment Summit Group. Dr. Okwena, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Dr. Okwena, let me start straight away with asking you, the Enugu conference, Enugu summit, what was it all about and what was the outcome?
Yeah, thank you very much, viewers, and thank you for this opportunity. We held a Southeast, Made in Southeast Business and Investment Summit Group between 11th and 13th December last year. The summit was a partnership-driven program because we looked at our homeland, the Southeast. We have area of comparative advantage, and that is business. And we find that we are not actually using business to drive development and growth of Southeast. And the partnership, the jigging between government and the business sector seems not to be sticking. And even among the government seems not to be working together. So we felt that why not we use business to propel development in the Southeast. That is where the concept started, and then we started growing partnerships because no one group can do it. So we brought all the partners together, partnering with international agencies like United Nations Industrial Development Organization, United Nations Development Program, and other international agencies, partnering with federal agencies like NEBSA, like SMIDAM, like all those agencies that hitherto are not having meaningful presence in the Southeast. So we started partnering with them. Then we brought the investor group, the business group from across the world. Some came from United States, some came from Caribbean, some came from Europe. And then those in Nigeria, parts of Nigeria, Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna, Kano, Port Harcourt, we all converged in Enugu. So, and we discussed how do we propel investment into the Southeast? How do we propel businesses into the Southeast? Because when we propel business in the Southeast, we bring expose the Southeast to the world, to the rest of the world, and make the good news to come from Southeast. See that people will hear about one type of issue or the other. We don't want to talk about negatives these days because every part of the world have their own negative. But if you push collective good news, it will overtake the negatives. I always tell people when we are doing this, planning the summit, some people say, oh, why not do the summit in Abuja, do it in Lagos? After all, I said, how can I do a SAT? We do a SAT in business and investment summit
in diaspora.
In diaspora. It hasn't gone to time. Oh, the security. I said, do you know the volume of insecurity in New York? In Lagos, the insecurity in Lagos is more than the whole Southeast. The only things that good news come from all those places, so it tend to wipe off or cover up the bad side of things. So essentially, that is how we converge, and a reputable figure, our own best to the world, all were there. The chairman of the occasion was Biofurniture, Abogidi himself, the great businessman who was in chair for so many years before he decided to retire to go and take the throne of his ancestors. He was there for the 3 days talking to people. Our own daughter, Okonjo, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, sending a representation, because that was the time he was running for her. She was running for her re-election. Then so many other great sons and daughters of the Igbo land all came. It was a success. It was a 3-day success, and eventually we collaborated with there are things we do neglect. The free trade zone. The free trade zones in the South seem not to be vibrant, because we seem not to think of them. Now, Enyimba Economic City has nearly 10,000 hectares of land in Abia. The Enugu Empower, that's the Enugu Free Trade Zone, is there in Enugu. We have Lion Business Park in Enugu. These are 10 places we need to develop so that we can be able to enjoy the benefits of those free zones. There are basically 18 free zones, free trade zones in the Southwest. Not Southwest, Lagos Ogun Axis only. Dangote's refinery and co were able to survive because I did the free trade zone. So we want our people to start invest, because most of the time it's, there is insecurity, there is this. If you invest in the free trade zone, some of these things are immune out of them, because the free trade zone give you opportunity of enjoying the so many waivers, tax waiver, duty waiver, exports. You can import almost without paying anything. You can export your produce too. So, and if we're actually in business, we must be able to develop that. So we partnered with all the free trade zones in the Southeast, and then we came out with a very wonderful summit. And the post-summit activities have started, because we believe that it's not supposed to be a talk stop. So we told them pointedly, if you are coming here to talk, we don't need to come and talk. We've been talking. It's for us to start doing things, and that is why post-summit, we noticed. We set up some proposed special vehicles that will drive different aspects of development using business. We are setting up the Southeast Trade Center. The Trade Center is to take the businesses in the Southeast to the world. It's just we're developing a database of businesses in the Southeast. As a matter of fact, this February we're taking out with a need assessment of MSMEs in the whole Southeast. So we'll be able to know their capacity, be able to know their challenges, be able to know how we can put them together and export.
Dr. Kwena, if I allow you, you almost say everything that came out of there. But each summit has an outcome.
Yes.
You're conversing on the outcome.
Yes.
And one of the outcomes should be, correct me if I'm wrong, opportunities for business and investment in Southeast.
Yes, of course.
What did you expose?
Yeah, there are a lot of opportunities in Southeast. Southeast is like a virgin, untapped. Look at where Opara stopped. Well, when the Civil War started.
Yes.
And have you asked yourself, have we done much after that? We haven't done much. The war ended. Asika tried to rebuild the Southeast. Then we started the state creation stuff. Most of the efforts were being made to build cohesion once again. And then we found that people started running away. People abandoned the East, and then we are itinerant, and we are moving everywhere but home. So now we looked at the Southeast. We look at agro section of the Southeast. We found that Southeast is has very huge opportunity for agro business and agro export. we look at the commerce in Aba and Abia as a matter of fact, where you have a lot of shoe, leather, garments, industries. We've been thinking of asking them to introduce making of football and the rest of them and supplying to the rest, because we don't see it anywhere. Then you look at Nnewi on Ichazis, where we notice that is a hub for automotive component parts. In addition to two major motor manufacturing companies in Anambra State, they have so many huge number of auto components parts manufacturers. Unfortunately, what we discovered in the course of that is that there is no cohesion between regulatory agencies and these producers. And most of the time, they find them trying to hide while producing. This is something similar. They exist in small places, just like in China. Yeah. They don't need big factories. Some do it in a 3-bedroom flat. They are producing. But if there is cohesion between them and the regulatory agencies, they won't have any issue. People will produce and then export. Then we notice again that the exports opportunities in Southeast Asia becoming gradually going to zero. Officially now, but unofficially, tons and tons of containers moving out of Southeast. Some through the Appian Way to Cameroon and to the rest of Central Africa. Some through night buses to Lagos and the rest of them. And then collectively, officially, zero for Southeast. So now you will say Southeast is not exporting anything, but in actual sense, they are the ones that feed Lagos, feed Port Harcourt, and feed the rest of, and then cross over there in Cameroon. Some of them produce, send it there, export it, and write it made in Italy, made in Spain, and then some of us will go import them in front shops in Europe and America. But these are our bad products. So these are so many opportunities we notice in the Southeast, and then we equally notice the challenges of investors. A lot of investors, including our sons and daughters who are eager to invest, don't have the necessary encouragement. While the week was going on, somebody called me on phone and said he just established an industry in one of the Southeast states in November, but that they are in December and the agencies are already on him for taxes and all those things. I said, you're a new company and there should be tax holidays. There should be incentives to encourage you. He said, no, I have to extend calls to all these government agencies and start begging them, please allow these people to take off. So we must think of creating an enabling environment that will help this to grow. Then we notice the issue that, when I was talking to export, we have its own challenges because we have only one gateway. And if we discuss with the Canadian airport management, they will tell you that even that one gateway come with millions and hundreds and thousands of tons of goods into Enugu, but leave empty. Now, if they leave empty, they are there for make profit. So most of the time, cost of bringing goods into the South is costlier than what it is in other parts of the country. So these are challenges we see as a people, and basically it's something we are working right now to correct some of them.
No, this group is called Southeast Business and Investment
yes.
Summit Group. And any investor would want to have information that will encourage him, data that will encourage him, what is available, what raw materials, for instance, is available, what regulatory guidelines are available. How did your summit look at this, and how the investor can access?
You see, I told you it's a partnership program. At that summit, the Raw Materials Research and Development Council was there, fully represented. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council was there, the Bank of Industry, the SMIDAM, the NEBSA, so many federal government agencies were represented. The challenges were what we are, why we are talking about partnership. Now, data is very, very important for any business. And that is why, arising from that, we took decision at that summit to establish the Southeast Trade Center. Is a trade network center, virtual and physical, that we want to put to the world, and to be able to start putting data. The existing data, know that the National Bureau of Statistics have some statistics, media have some statistics, data that can. But we are saying yes, these are, some of them are up to 2002, some of them are even maybe getting to current one. But we want to do a need assessment, so that in doing the need assessment of all the corporate organizations, corporate producing industries in all the sectors in Southeast, MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises, and even big industries, we'll be able to do the need assessment, which will produce, when we finish that, we'll publish a report. It will give us handy
a clearer
picture of
and documents somebody can refer to.
Yes, how many industries are there in Southeast? How many services? Because we are not talking about only manufacturing industry. We are talking including services, including those in music, Nollywood, and the rest of them. These are all the things we are giving to the world. So when we document it, we'll be able to now say these are capacities. How many of them are meeting their capacity utilization? Because some of them have challenges. We want to identify those challenges. Are there things we can do to solve these challenges? Some of them have problem of access to fund. Some of them have access to market, problem of access to market. Some of them have access not being visible. Of course, that is the major challenge we discovered, that businesses in Southeast are not visible to the world. And that is the essence of that trade center, because we want to document all these things and now showcase it to the world. This is what you can get from our homeland. This is what you can get in Southeast. This is where you can get it. We want to equally ensure they are standardized, so that because we are leveraging on partnership, we're already trying to see how they can leverage on the ECOWAS protocol and the African Free Trade Continental Agreement. These are the ways we can boost the development in Southeast, because when you are doing this, you are creating wealth, fighting poverty, creating employment for a lot of people. We don't want our people to keep on leaving Southeast. Today, so many higher institutions in Southeast, as they are dropping their pen in their final degrees, and they are leaving Southeast. Those born outside Southeast are not thinking of returning. If we don't do what we are doing today, we will lose them. Like I told you before this program, we are the bridge between those who know Southeast and the young who don't know Southeast. So those in Nigeria know Lagos, know Abuja. They may not know Enugu or Umuahia and the rest of them. But if we succeed in what we are doing, I know we are going to succeed. People will now leave Lagos to go and look for a job in Enugu or in Abia. That's the essence of what we are doing.
Well, it's a partnership, you said.
Yes.
It's not a private sector driven, it's a collaboration.
It's a collaboration.
Let me ask you a question that is bothering me since you've been talking. And that is, how well have the Southeast governments bought into this vision? A collaboration. Are they collaborating? Is it a common vision between you? Are they a convinced partner?
Well, you can't do anything in Nigeria without government getting involved. Because if you try to do that, you shoot yourself. Success will never be there. But it's always difficult to convince a system, because at times they may not know where you are coming from. So we started by contacting governments and making sure the 5 Southeast governors are in tune with what we are doing. Discuss with the Southeast Governors Forum DG and the rest of them. So we are making effort, continuously making effort for them to imbibe into the core of what we are doing. And I'm sure that we are all partners in progress. We're all partners in the development of Southeast. So basically, I think we are working together.
You know why I ask you this question? Most producers, most traders, most manufacturers in Nigeria complain about uncoordinated policies. You move into Nasarawa State. The policy on the same product is different from what you meet in Kogi State. It's different from the one you meet in Lagos State. And businesses say that it's confusing. Apart from it being confusing, it generates multiple taxation. Now, in this, with all due respect, Tinubu's regime of tax-driven economy, most state governments are wont to slam in all manner of taxes. And if policies are not coordinated, your efforts, those coming to invest, businesses when they come in, will discover that they come into a burden of uncoordinated policies. Are the Southeast states conscious of harmonizing policies to help drive what you are doing? That is point number one. Two, are you doing anything on your own to get the regulatory agencies to standardize processes and procedures for those coming in?
Yeah, thank you very much. Basically, Southeast is a contiguous zone. That's one thing you can be assured. And from the way we see it, the sector centers are different. If you talk of agriculture, you're talking of Ebonyi State. If you talk of commerce, talk of Abia. If you talk about industrialization, you talk about Anambra, Onitsha, Oasis. You talk of hospitality industry, that is Imo. So basically, we are lucky on that because of that compartmentalization in the Southeast. I don't see much difference in policy issues between these 5 states. The only thing is that there are some of the overzealous government agencies who can go out of their way to harass and intimidate an investor. So basically, we are working. There's always this kind of meeting they have, which we were brought into you, that it is between the state governments and the regulatory agencies, all meeting once in a while, I think once every quarter or so, where they discuss and agree on certain things. On our own, we are thinking of having a regular joint section with all regulatory agencies in the Southeast. Reason is that if you don't do that, this agency, you know, there is this love, there's no love lost, or how do they say it, between producers and investors and regulators. Southeast in particular, they don't want to see regulators. I must say it so that they can hear it. They are not comfortable with the regulators. Not that they don't want to obey the regulators, but the fact remains that some of these regulators, once they are posted to the side, some of them become overzealous. Some of them do maybe 1 or 2 bad eggs in them, because any government regulator is going there to enforce the strict enforcement.
Dr. Gwanda, I think you're talking tongue in cheek. Can I put it openly that most of these regulators, officials of these regulators posted to the Southeast, see it as harvest time?
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Actually, what happened is that nobody was asking questions. Let's take it that way. We started asking questions. We want to now meet with all of them. We'll be working together, and then that will now make them to have the kind of relationship between the industries and the manufacturers and the SMEs, so that we don't want somebody producing a shoe in Aba and say it's made in Spain. We don't want somebody producing a motor parts at Newi, and when he see a regulator, he will run away. As a matter of fact, National Agency, Automotive Design and Development Agency, according to their policy, domiciled automotive component part production in the Southeast. Now, why would a producer will be hiding? No, we will not want to assure a manufacturer that the regulator is fair, and he will not go out of the way to victimize him. We want to assure the regulator that the producer is not doing any shady thing. After all, that's why we are promoting export trade, because the most important thing we want to focus our attention now is that we want to promote export out of Southeast. And you cannot export if you are not standardized. With GON, we want to remove the file when Nandi will be producing only for Ikenna to sell. Yeah. That's what is happening today. You see somebody producing a component part. He's producing it and he's supplying it to
the mechanic.
Not to mechanic. There's a spare part dealer that sells his products. So he only produce when Emeka has sold, finished selling. No, these things have to go out. It is needed in the West Coast. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, Ivory Coast, and the rest of them. They need it. In the Central Africa and Southern Africa, they need it. So we encourage them. We want to encourage them to be able to now work with the regulator, so that the regulator will make sure that they standardize. There are certification processes done by National Export Promotion Council. For goods to leave this country, you must start to certify them, and it's a very costly venture. Now we want them to work. It's only when you work with regulator that they will certify your product. So we want them to close that gap, and that is what we are doing now as a matter of urgency. Let the regulators come together, work with us, work with the producers, so that we can form synergy. That is the basic thing that will help production in the Southeast, which before now is not there because nobody was asking questions.
That is great, because I remember that many years back when we were children, Japanese products, especially textiles, were called obey the wind, poor quality.
Yeah.
When you eventually got to Lagos, you could go buy Chinese cotton for peanuts because they were not as good as Van Heusen or Arrow, which came from the West.
Yes.
Our producers and manufacturers in the Southeast seem not to be comfortable being regulated. There's a picture, there's a video I could have shown you of rods, iron rods, about 12 years ago. 12 mm iron rod, and today 16 mm iron rod. The 12 mm iron rod is bigger than the 16 mm iron rod today. The question is, Nigerian Standard Organization, other regulatory agencies, are they regulating in such a manner as to drive these boys under? That is one. Two, do they educate them on the right raw materials and the right processes? The reason is that some of our boys who are honestly producing may want to do a quick production because the market demands it, and in the course of doing that they may not use the right material. But somebody should be there to say these are the materials for this kind of production and these are the processes, and that is the function of the regulator. Are these regulators making themselves available as teachers of the process, because it is Nigeria's name and Nigeria's quality that is at stake? Dr. Kwena, before answer me that question, I take a short break. Well, I'm still discussing critical matter this morning. The Southeast economic opportunities being driven by the Southeast Business and Investment Summit Group. We are looking at the payoffs. We are looking at the challenges. We are looking at who ought to do what. We'll continue this conversation after this short break. Please stay with us. welcome back. Just before I took that short break, I was asking Dr. Kwenna, the regulator, the standards, the processes, as an educator, making sure that what comes out of our manufacturing lines meets the quality. Are they doing that job, Dr. Kwenna?
Yeah, I think every regulator has a mandate. The mandate is to regulate production, to make sure that production is standardized, and that to make sure the production meets certain limit. I don't think Standard Organization of Nigeria, if they do at the upper regulators in terms of standard, will go out of their way and allow a regulator, a producer to underproduce. And even the producer himself needed the market. If you underproduce, if you make sure your quality is down, you may not sell. Unless you are not going to sell in the open market, or you want to go on the ground market and sell. But is a serious thing, and I know that if the regulator works well with the producers, things will be regulated effectively. They will never see themselves as enemies, and that's what we're working at. We don't want to see them as enemies, so that whatever good comes from the Southeast, it is respected as quality. Look at what is happening in Catalonia in Spain.
Yeah.
What did they? It's just like Southeast. You have similar history. Now they say, okay, let's do to Spain. They do good for Spain by bringing the best for Spain out of Barcelona and the rest of them. And today, what is happening? They are doing it well. So our target is that out of this East, we must start having standardized things. That is where we are coming from. And we are making sure we are bringing market to you who is producing. Where it's no longer the era of you produce, don't where to sell. What part of what my team is doing is that they are looking at products that can be exported from Southeast. Now they're taking inventory. Now, we equally, another group is even looking at the markets. The market in the West Coast, the markets in the rest of Africa, the market in Europe, the market in America, and the rest of the world. Now, that is why we are particular about standard. So that if you give this request are coming, and we're asking you to supply, we must be sure that what you are supplying meets the standard. If not, you waste money, because if it's under if the standard is low, they will be rejected, and nobody would like his product to be rejected. And I think they are gradually, the producers are gradually tuning, seeing that there's no alternative to it, and the fear. Some of them fear taxes. That's another area. We're not telling them that the more you pay tax, the better for the economy and the better for you, because we are equally looking for funding for you. That's part of our mandate, part of what we want to do. We are making sure that we work towards them getting grants, getting aids, getting counterpart funding, some fund from international development partners and agencies that are willing to support growth. Now, some of them before now don't attend training, they don't attend workshops, they don't attend all this. We want to make sure that we mainstream them into major programs where they can attend. You see, when you attend these things, you meet colleagues from other clients and you share ideas, share address, share contacts. You see that they are not losing anything. That is, you're even gaining more. And then the other day I heard talks with the Bank of Industry, and they told me challenges where Southeast industries are not accessing their fund, and we are sitting down now to work out what do we do. We are now working on the mandate that this year no less than 10 companies in Southeast must access that fund, and you cannot do it if you are not paying tax. You cannot do it if you don't have track record. So these are things we are telling them. Now, if you are assessing a low interest fund, is it not better for you that you get 3, 4, 5 under 9%, one single digit interest fund to put into your business, than that you are producing under and you are not assessing it. And we're even looking at, we told them the option of clustering. You know, these are SMEs. Some of them are even micro. Now, why not, if it's okay, let them go and apply for fund with the Bank of Industry. The volume of fund may not be enough, and I know Bank of Industry may not be interested in giving 5, 10, 100 millions. They want big fund. So we're not looking at, can they cluster, especially within the value chain? And then if you can cluster, then they can get fund. And it's easy to repay such fund, because the each of the sector within the value chain is feeding the other. This one is feeding the other, this one is feeding the other, and the money is paid fast. So these are things we are exploring, and thank God the Bank of Industry are giving us green light that this is possible, and they are willing to discuss with us.
Dr. Kwenda, that brings me into what I had not wanted to, I didn't think about it before, and that is the stock exchange in the Southeast. The stock exchange is supposed to be a platform for raising funds for big businesses, and of course selling your stock and your shares and all that. But the stock exchange in Onitsha is as good, it's as dead as Downhill.
Yes.
It's Southeast. Are they afraid of accessing fund? And everybody wants to run on the money's pocket.
Thank you very much. It's a major challenge. You know, most of our businesses are family businesses. On the side of it, we are doing a program, what we call the transgenerational business trainings. We will soon start running programs on transgenerational and making people plan succession planning, making sure that your business doesn't die when you die. You know, that is a major problem. You have the Kennedy Chukus and the Leo Chukus of this and the rest of them. Now, that is on one side. Two, we are now, if they are structured, you know, we notice that most of them are not structured.
Not structured at all.
If they are structured, it's easy for them to go to stock exchange. Because I keep on asking them, what's the sense of it that you're a big organization that maybe your capital base is about 10 billion. Now, you keep holding that. When you know that you can recapitalize that 10 billion, call it 20%, and go to the market and leverage another 80%, it helps you. It's a win-win thing for you. You still have your money is still intact. You still intact with you. You're even a major shareholder. You can even do a private placement by getting your friends to, at the end of the day, 20%, you make and 10%, you make 50%, and you sell 50%. That 50% you and your friend is holding. It's still your money, and you are making more profit. So definitely, our challenge in SAT is that most of them being family businesses, they feel that, oh, we don't want it to leave our family. You know, they started like with Okwena and Sons Limited, from there to Okwena and Brothers Limited, to Okwena and Sons Limited. Now, happily, a number of them, even our own brother IVM, you know, Simva, told us in confidence, he will soon go to the capital market because he has no option. He's doing very well. He's bigger, he's big. He needs to grow faster, more. So, and once he gets into this, but don't forget that Kutis Cable did that, and now he's not there. The business is continuing. So I believe basically that it's a gradual thing. It's a gradual thing. Remember that Sir Leo Juku started the stock exchange, first chairman of the stock exchange, and a lot of our people, especially those outside the South, are heavy big players in the stock exchange. And I believe basically that what we are doing now with the transgenerational trade program we want to run to educate these business owners that this business will still remain with you if you restructure your business and put a sustaining plan. Yeah. To make sure your business grows even after you. So I think we are getting there.
Dr. Kwenda, in all these conversations, I just want to close my eyes and imagine that businesses begin to thrive, begin to grow, and the Southeast economy begins to expand. The next challenge is going to be infrastructure. Essentially, Southeast is the road network is not one of the best in the world. Before the war, the Southeast Road Network was the best in Africa. Today, it is taking the grace of the federal government to build a second Niger bridge after not too much lobbying, almost crying and weeping. Are you looking at the infrastructure that we sustain? And when I'm talking about infrastructure, I'm talking about road, I'm talking about power, I'm talking about developing even the waterways as alternatives to carrying some of the heavy load. I'm talking about connecting, real connectivity. It is a huge thing to look at. Is it crossing your mind that if you succeed, for instance, suddenly and now people are responding, the next challenge could be infrastructure?
Yeah, I agree with you basically, because infrastructure drives business. Equally, business drives infrastructure. Because the way it is, somebody will tell you, oh, if I'm going to build this, who and who is going to use it? So it will discourage you. But when you know that if you do it, this way, it's going to be used. Let me tell you why the businesses is driving it. Infrastructure already in the Southeast. The Enyimba Economic City, which is being funded by Afreximbank, is coming in with 3 major highways in the Southeast, which can be towed on completion, but there will be 24-hour street light in all those. They've gotten concession for Enugu Port Harcourt Expressway, gotten concession for Onitsha Owerri-Aba Expressway, and a new road that will come from through Akwa Ibom into Abia to Imo, Anambra Delta, connect to Edo State. Now, this is a huge infrastructure, 8-10-lane expressway, and then definitely it's going to be told. When such things happen, it opens up those areas. Secondly, the rail system, as you were, we have no other alternative. We must go to rail, because that is, especially with the way prices of fuel and the rest things are going up every day.
We need a large carrier.
We need large carrier. And when we are talking about increasing businesses, if we increase businesses, there will be a lot of logistics to handle with. And logistics are not better handled on roads. It's only that we kill the rail system in Nigeria. That's why we have so many trailers with the attendant accidents and the rest of them. So basically, there is need going for that. But government need to provide enabling environment. The Southeast government as a team can come together. There are investors who want to invest in this kind of thing. Put their money. I have just mentioned the Enyimba Economic City. It's a private sector owned by private public sector package. Federal government has 20%. The Enyimba group has 20%. The Abia State government has 6%. The community has 4%. That's 50%. 50% will run to the public. Now, those kind of things can build, operate, and transfer, or build, operate, and maintain for a very long time. This rail system we are talking about will go the same way. The aviation industry, because today we have only one international airport, that is a Canadian airport, which we are trying to do everything possible to make sure we have what we call the Southeast Export Processing Hub to encourage goods out of Southeast, so that we will now have more carriers coming in. There is equally need for the Anambra Cargo Airport, the Owerri Cargo Airport, and possibly Ebonyi transforming their airport. Yes. I advise them, I don't know, maybe if they are listening to me, it's important that place is a cargo airport, because it's an agro center. And make sure that place is good, with good cold room and the rest of them, and carry agro processes out of that place to the rest of the world. So if we're able to put these things down, and I tell you that there are a lot of investors who are even asking us opportunities of them handling the development of some of this airport on build, operate, and transfer basis. So I expect that, because if you look at the economy of the Southeast, individual states small. Let's tell ourselves the
Yeah,
truth.
but
Collectively
yes,
is big.
huge.
But again, they must have to make an enabling environment and be open and allow people, investors to come in. We will get investors who will leverage on the enabling environment they were going to provide and invest their fund and manage those facilities over the years. And when you allow investors, international non-reputable investors, to invest in that and manage that place, you see a lot of resources coming into the Southeast. So it become a win-win thing for us. So I don't believe in 100% government building of infrastructure. You must be government private sector partnership to build it.
Dr. When my director is giving me a signal that I don't have more than 10 minutes, but I have two issues I want you to please help me clarify. I have a personal experience setting up a TV network, having a studio in Enugu, developing a studio in Port Harcourt, having a studio in Abuja. The easiest to develop is Lagos. Why am I telling you my story? It's because of manpower. These organizations, these businesses can only succeed if they have adequate manpower. Don't tell me about return of the Jews to the promised land. No. Are you conversing with the institutions, the universities, the relevant technical institutions in the Southeast? Because the products of these institutions will drive the manpower that is needed to run whatever effort you're making. If not, people will establish their businesses and discover they don't have the right manpower.
I agree with you. It's a challenge, really. Quite unfortunate, because an average Southeasterner believe that the bread will be buttered outside the Southeast. So most of the time they are dropping their pen right after their final degrees and they're leaving the next day out of Southeast. And this is a very big challenge, and we are losing a lot. Like I told you earlier, we are losing our younger generation. The so-called Gen Zs find the difficult stay. I was asking one of them the other day, he said, hey, look, how will I stay in the Southeast when average like I be paid 500,000, 600,000 in Lagos, and I come to Southeast, somebody is pricing me 200, 250,000. I will not go buy it from the same market. This is a reality, and every person, every human being, man or woman, young or old, want where more money will be paid. The economy of Lagos is big, and they can afford to pay that much. We may not be paying that, but at this particular point in time, let's make sure the jobs are available. Okay. If the jobs are available, we will make sure that the best hand, if you look for it in Lagos, it doesn't see it. You will just come and be managing at 250 in the Southeast
and grow with
the organization. But again, we're encouraging the youth, and let me say, the youth should know that there is, we can't preach them patriotism now. That's what our generation and your generation, sir, we talk about patriotism, but the youth of today talk about their pocket. We are now asking the businesses to consider this youth. If you have a good hand, pay that good hand very well. Because it sounds very ridiculous when you hear that somebody is still being paid 30, 40, 50,000 naira for a job. And you don't expect the best hand to remain. Now, as for partnership with the schools, we are partnering with the schools. We're already talking with the Institute of Management and Technology, Enugu. They have one of the very wonderful facilities, entrepreneurship facilities, industrial center. You know, it's one of the best. It used to be one of the best of the old. It's in the mode of Yabatech and Katpoli. But unfortunately, where the federal government took up the Katpoli and Yabatech, and IMT still remain with Enugu State. It's even reducing because it was owned by Eastern Nigeria, from there to East Central State, now to Enugu State. That's the reality. But they have one of the best. It's one of the best anyway. Then UNN is especially their business school. We are working to partner with them. There is this new school, Maduka University, owned by Peace Mass Transport. Yes. That is an entrepreneurial university, and they are doing well. We are partnering. Then Gregory University, you know that Gregory will have one of the best engineering faculties in Nigeria and the rest of them, and the science and medicine and the rest of them. And it's an entrepreneurial university. So we identify these entrepreneurial universities and we're partnering with them. We want to start running certain courses. You see, these conventional courses we run makes it difficult for people to even, when they graduate, to be able to do something. So, but these schools are that are willing to tailor their courses to the reality of the moment. And when these kids are coming out, if we're able to create enough space for them, they can easily stay in this. Because the target is to make them stay first home. So that, because if we allow them to leave and coming back may be difficult. But if they graduate and they stay with us in the South, it's definitely they are going to get used to us. They develop their peer pressure and peer groups, and gradually they start marrying within themselves, and then they will remain. So I believe purely that it's bad today, but it's going to get better as we move forward.
Well, but when my producer says 3 minutes more, but I won't fail to ask you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, some weeks back, I interrogated that matter on this show when he said that institutions in Nigeria should begin to conduct cutting-edge research to drive national development. If you look at it, as you make your effort and industry begin to grow, there will be need to respond to industry needs on day-to-day basis. There are difficulties in industry which the operatives cannot provide an answer to. Answers can only come from research, from the eggheads, from the institutions. Are you looking ahead?
Yeah, you see, basically you can't grow if you don't do innovation and technology transfer. While you may not go whole hog in doing core research from the arches, you will be ready to do technology transfer. And that's our focus. Our focus is innovation, because if you don't innovate, you die. All these things we are telling you, the essence of bringing these people together, the producers and manufacturers and the scientists together, is for them to continuously innovate so that they can meet the reality in the international market. And then they can do that only when they innovate and then transfer technology. Let me tell you a program we are working with, which is equally part of what is happening. We have a program with the Indian SMEs, and which in partnership with the Enyimba Economic City. Now, there are quite a number of about 100 and something Indian SMEs that are already identified, interested in Southeast. Now, what they want to do is pairing. That pairing program is that instead of them moving to come and stay in Southeast, they identify SMEs in Southeast that are willing to partner with them. And then while they produce there, whatever they produce there, whatever market they have there, they transfer it here. That's transfer of technology. And then the same industry is then producing it here. That's our own local industry, producing the same product, the same technology, the same everything, and be marketing it in Nigeria and Africa. That is a program we already have.
Also franchise transfer.
Yes. That's a program we are already packaging here now with the Enyimba Economic City and West Africa and World SME Center. So it's all about technology transfer. It's all about innovation. Then we will encourage in a research, because there are local research that are local to us, considering our environment. There are things that are local to us, and that's why we are eager to put more emphasis, to partner with the National Center for Arts and Culture, so that we can use our creative art to even
also tell our story.
To tell our story, own our story. Because if we don't do that, we have some challenges as a people. So all these things are things we want to package and then give it to the world. If I'm going to buy with you, I must know you. And that's the essence of what we are doing in that.
Well, Dr. Kwenda, I want to thank you for coming in the past 55, almost 57 minutes. I've been in a conversation that I'm involved in, as it were, on the Southeast economy, issues in the Southeast economy. and I've been conversing with Dr. Ifedio Kwenna, who is the Director General of the Southeast Business and Investment Summit Group. Can I thank you enough, Dr. Kwenna? Thank you very much for coming to the program.
I'm very grateful. Thanks for the opportunity.
Well, that's the morning for this morning. My name never changes. It remains Mwabweze Njoku. Let's meet again tomorrow. Good morning.